Hello, children. So, today our topic is the types of therapies. So, here under this header, we will understand three very important therapies and we'll understand various questions pertaining to these three therapies. So, to begin with, if you see on the slide, it's very clearly mentioned that how these psychotherapies are going to differ in their concepts, in their methods, and of course, in their techniques, and how they are aiming at, of course, removing the human distress and to actually foster a very, very effective behavior. So, of course, the aim for each of the psychotherapy remains the same. It's just that they are going to differ in their way of concepts, the methodologies, and of course, their techniques. So, I'm going to take the very first question, which says that what is the cause which has led to this particular problem? So, pertaining to each of the therapies, we'll take up the causes. So, first therapy is the psychodynamic. So, in case of the psychodynamic, the cause very clearly, which is the intrapsychic conflicts. They are actually lying, in the psyche of the person, and they are basically the core source of the psychological problems. And when we talk about the behavior therapies, the cause is but coming from the faulty learning of behaviors, and of course the cognitions, which are the way you actually think, the process of knowing the world, which are the cognitions. So there is a faulty learning of behaviors, and in case of the existential therapies, which is the third therapy, the cause actually lies when you have a lot of questions about the meaning of your own life, and why are you basically existing. So that is where the entire cause of psychological problem lies. So we are looking at three important psychotherapies. We are looking at psychodynamic, we are looking at the behavior, and we are looking at the existential. Moving on to the second question, how did the cause actually come into existence? Now we know the cause, but how did it actually come into existence? What is the root cause of these causes? So, in case of psychodynamic, where we talked about the intra psychic conflicts, the conflicts which are going on, in the mind. So it actually comes from, especially, when we talk about the subconscious mind. So the conflicts are coming from the unfulfilled desires, and the cause lies in the childhood of the person. And there are a lot of unresolved childhood fears also, which have actually led to these intrapsychic conflicts. In terms of the behavior, the cause actually is coming from, of course, which is your very, very faulty conditioning patterns, which also means your learning patterns. So faulty learning is there, and there are very, very faulty thinking and belief systems which have led to this maladaptive behavior. And of course then, which led to the building up of the psychological problems also. When we talk about the existential therapy, the cause is but coming from the feelings of loneliness and alienation, and you also feel a sense of being absolutely like useless, like what is the core meaning of my own existence. You feel very, very futile, and that has basically led to the psychological problems. And coming to question number three, which says that what is the chief method of treatment? When we talk about the psychodynamic therapy, it is making use of methods like free association, and in the free association, you're made very, very comfortable, and like you actually share about your own self, and you lie down, and like you're made to lie down very comfortably, and that's how you start talking about yourself. That is free association. And in that, you start also reporting your dreams to be able to elicit your own thoughts and feelings, of the client. So the client will also share about his dreams, and then of course whatever the client is sharing in this process of free association, all of that is interpreted, and also the client is in a way shared about it, and so that the conflicts can be further resolved and overcome. And in case of behavior therapy, there are many other kinds of alternate behavioral, so to say, provisions made, in order to improve the behavior. And the cognitive methods are also used, in order to really, really bring about a change in the faulty thinking patterns. So, a lot of behavioral techniques can be used for that matter to help the person overcome the psychological issues, distress, problems in life. In case of existential therapy, a very, very therapeutic environment is set up where the therapist is, of course, being very, very positive, accepting, and continues to maintain the unconditional positive regard for his client, and then the client is, of course, able to talk about the problems, and the therapist is but acting as a facilitator. And then the client will eventually arrive, at the solutions. And the solutions are nothing but, the personal growth, how much evolved the client will start feeling, in actually increasing the understanding of himself or herself, becoming more and more self-aware about oneself. So that is the kind of personal growth which a person experiences in, the humanistic existential therapy. And coming to question number 4, of course, it says that what is the nature of the therapeutic relationship, between the client and the therapist. So if you see the first two, which is, of course, the psychodynamic and the behavior therapy, in both these therapies, the therapist is very, very capable of arriving at solutions, to the client's problems. And when we talk about the existential therapies, it is emphasizing a lot on the therapist providing a very, very warm and empathetic relationship where the client will start feeling very secure and will be able to explore the nature and causes of his behavior, and that is being done by the client himself. So that's more of a client centered therapy when we talk about the existential therapies. And coming to question number 5, which says that what is the chief benefit to the client, when we talk about, the the benefits that the client will receive once he's taken the psychodynamic therapy, or he's taken the existential therapy, or he's taken the behavior therapy. So in terms of the psychodynamic therapy, the benefit that the client will receive is that of the emotional insight. And this emotional insight will help the client understand his conflicts, and will be able to really, really accept it emotionally, and will be able to actually change and work on his own emotions, to be able to overcome these intra-psychic conflicts. And in terms of the behavior therapy, of course, the benefit that the client will receive is that he will be able to change the faulty behavior and, of course, the thought patterns, and will in turn become more and more adaptive, and this is what is the chief benefit of the behavior therapy. And of for humanistic therapy, the main benefit is the personal growth which the client experiences, and will get basically more and more aware of himself or herself. He will start becoming more aware of himself, of herself, his own emotions, his own motives, his own aspirations. So basically that is what is personal growth, and that is the biggest benefit which you receive of the humanistic existential therapy. Then coming to the last question, which says that what is the duration of the treatment? And when we talk about, of course, the treatment, there is nothing definite, but it actually can take a lot of time sometimes. But the psychodynamic therapies generally are completed within a span of 10 to 15 sessions. And the behavioral and cognitive therapies, if you see, and as well as when we talk about the existential therapies, they are probably shorter, and they take few months actually to cover up. So this was all about, to understand what are the various kinds of therapies that we'll be studying in more detailed and elaborative manner. And these questions have somehow in a way cleared that what is the cause and probably the root cause, and also the method and the nature of therapist, the especially the therapist, when it comes to the therapeutic relationship, and of course the benefits that you receive after taking these therapies, and of course the duration of treatment. So this was just a summary, just a gist, and we will be starting with the therapies in the next audio video. Thank you so much.